What's up, guys? It's Talon. So today I'm going to be talking about Master of Versatility and how we're going to be aiming for Master of Versatility level 3 because we haven't really had many things to do recently overall in the game because I've reached Sovereign, I've been top 10 on the server 3 seasons in a row. We've kind of done a lot of things. We've done it playing autofill. I've hit Challenger on every role in the past as well. And so I want kind of my next challenge. And right now, in legendary ranked, it takes forever to find the game because I hit Vanquisher. And so, when we can, we'll try to go for legend as well. But for the time being, we're going to be aiming for Master of Versatility level 2 and level 3. So currently, I'm level 1. To get level 2, all that I need is 10 champions being a 9,000 champion score, and then 4 roles being level 4. I already have, or level 12. I already have 4 roles at level 12, as you can see here, and we're aiming for 1 more champion to be 9,000 champion score, which we're aiming for Syndra. And because of that, I'm going to show you guys a Syndra gameplay today. So let's get right into it. All right, guys. So getting right into the Syndra gameplay, if you're curious to see the build in runes, just check out my video titled How to Play the Best Mid Laner in Wild Rift. I went over the build and everything there, so I'm just not going to go over that again. But going right into the early lane phase, talking about Syndra. So again, we're trying to get 9,000 champion score on Syndra. I'm currently at like 5,000. And so I'm going to be spamming this champion for the next couple days, probably making a couple of videos playing it, talking about mid lane. So if you guys are interested in mid lane content, you'll probably get some of that for the next couple days, or however long it takes to get 9,000 champion score. And today we're just going to kind of talk through the Syndra gameplay. So the first real important thing to understand about Syndra is just that all that really matters for your lane phase is landing as many spells as possible to get your stacks up. And so that's exactly what I do here. I'm just constantly using any ability on them whenever they're going for a last hit. So anytime that they're going to go for a last hit, I'm going to use my first ability. Again, even here you see Lux walking up for the auto. So I do that, just keep trading, and I get a bunch of real easy trades there. So that's kind of, again, just the main point of the early game. Sorry, I'm still coughing, by the way, if you can tell. I'm still a little sick. But we're able to get that early lane dominance and control the wave, so we get a bit of an advantage early on. I end up trying to take the fruit from the Lux as well, and then getting some more free poke onto her. I'm really fine with kind of even losing a bit of health. The main thing is to land my poke effectively, and then find a recall angle on mana boots. That's typically what I'm looking to do in the early game. Usually not going to be able to solo kill when I'm going cleanse. Some games, if I go ignite, it's going to be easier to solo kill. Typically, I'd go ignite in a game where the enemy were like not very CC heavy, and I don't need a lot of defense, and I'm more just focused on potentially winning lane. Really weird start to the game here, kind of a weird invade ending up happening. We're just going to use this time to poke out the Lux, as you can see, though, get a lot of free poke onto her. Don't really know what she was doing there. She ends up missing her spells, but we do not have the mana to kill. So again, we have that early pressure, which allows us to rotate first if we need to, and we're able to, again, get that good poke and everything, and everything like that. Unfortunately, our teammate kind of ints here, but Sivir does get some nice kills, so Sivir's doing pretty well. We're playing regular ranked. Like I said, I got Vanquisher, and so now that I'm Vanquisher, it's pretty hard to find games, so we're playing regular ranked instead. Here, we end up looking for the kill on Jax because he was really low, and there's a whole wave. The reason I was okay with giving up my minion wave in the bottom side, or in the mid, to rotate, is because of the fact that there was a wave stacking here, and so we would have lost a lot of plates from the Jax if I didn't rotate. What should have happened is my Darius should have gone mid lane to cover that wave. Unfortunately, he sucks, as you're going to see later in the game, and because he sucks, he doesn't do that, and then we end up, losing out on the mid wave. But in terms of, my decision making, the reason that I do that is simply because we'd lose out on a lot more if I didn't do that, and so I end up doing that. I do the play where, again, you use your first ability, then you ult right after. All right, not ult right after. You upgrade your first ability right after so that you get that additional first ability, so then you're able to spam 3 like I did there. We end up forcing out the flash from the Lux and everything like that. We do use our own flash in our ultimate, though, so not the best, but still works out. We have control over the wave. Sivir gets a triple kill, and I'm ahead almost 1,000 gold at this point from my rotations, from my lane dominance. And that's a really nice thing about Syndra. She's really, really lane dominant. Like, overall, it's sometimes hard to solo kill your opponent, but it's really easy to get gold leads and, health advantages and poke leads and stuff like that, which is kind of the main purpose in the early game. So that's what we go for. Again, Lux makes a really dumb rotation there, and gives up a lot of free gold in this wave. So we end up getting a lot of free gold on the mid lane. She does help her team to get the shutdown on the Sivir, so it's not all bad for her, but it is a really bad rotation from her because of how much she ends up losing out gold-wise. We get a couple plates, we get their fruit, and we use their, I'm using Seed Jar and Sweet Tooth to get additional fruit as well. So my gold lead's really large. We now look for a rotation because we just pushed the wave out. I think I play this really bad mechanically, if I remember correctly. I missed my burst ability onto the Kayn, and then I accidentally ult the wrong person. I think I meant to ult Kayn here, and then I ult Jax. And so then it ends up being kind of awkward, and I miss my spells. Really bad play by me overall. And yeah, we kind of end up screwing up here. We get jumped on by the Jax, and I believe I end up dying. Yeah, we do end up dying. So very, very bad mistake by me. The main issue was just that I missed some of my spells, and I used my ult on the wrong person on accident. So very bad rotation for me, and definitely get punished pretty hard for that. But overall, I mean, we're still in an okay spot. If you're ever hitting, you know, like 4K gold and already 2 evolves by the time that you're on first dragon, you're going to be pretty happy as Syndra. So I'm still pretty happy with my situation. My Sivir's doing really well. I'm duo with the Sivir. But overall, you know, it's still a very close game, still looking very losable. And so really what we're trying to do in the mid game is just look for picks the best we can and kind of play around getting towards death cap by 3rd dragon and getting the soul stealer by 2nd dragon. So really like trying to just hit those item spikes and then hit your evolves as quick as possible. Those are the 2 main purposes of an early game, you know, Syndra. So that's really what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get the poke onto whoever I can to see if I can land more spells, get my evolves quicker, anything like that. We end up not really finding the angle, but that's fine. And again, notice how I'm just always going straight towards mid before I kind of do anything else. Like a lot of people before roaming, they won't push their wave, and then they don't really get a lot of value from their roams, because if their roam works out, they're still missing out on gold, and if their roam doesn't work out, then they're just straight up losing gold and getting nothing in return. Whereas the way I'm doing it, you know, I'm always on this wave first, you can kind of see, and then we push afterwards. Right, so we end up having the flash be blown from the Lux thanks to Nautilus with his engage. So shout out to him there. And then we just try to poke the Lux out as well. But this is kind of how a lot of Syndra games go. Like it's a bit slow in the early game. You're just getting your stacks, you're getting online, and then eventually you become really like a monster on your item spikes and your evolve spikes. So that's really the main thing I'm playing around. I'm looking for a potential kill on Lux there, like 1 HP. Unfortunately, so she does not end up dying until later. She dies to the Sivir. But yeah, I mean, I think I could have hit my 3rd ability there. I missed my 3rd ability, which led to me not getting the kills. So definitely a mistake there. But overall, we're sitting on a lot of gold, and because I'm sitting on a lot of gold, I just want to go for, you know, the recall, spend my gold, and then I end up going topside because my Sivir is now in the mid lane because Sivir is really strong. And so because the Sivir, my ADC, stronger than me currently at this point in the game, I let them go towards the mid, and then I cover the side lane instead. That's a lot of times what you can do if your teammates actually rotate properly, like mine does there, where you can just cover a side lane if you're weaker, and then if you're stronger, a lot of times you can go in mid. It's especially as important as a like assassin mid laner to go towards the side lane more often, whereas most mages want to stay in mid lane for a majority of the game. And again, the only reason is because I really trust my Sivir, right? Because I'm duo with them. But a lot of times as a mage, you want to spend a bit more time in mid. But if you spend time on the side lane, you can get a lot of free gold that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get. And so here, our teammates do end up getting caught, so that was pretty bad by them. But we're just looking for a potential pick or anything like that. But the misfortune shows up, so we kind of just have to run away under turret. And now I'm kind of in a bad spot because the enemy are all looking to dive me here. Misfortune ends up ulting, so we're trying to outplay them here. I try to get in range to ult the Blitzcrank, but we don't quite get there. We end up dying to the Kayn. So it ends up being a really bad situation for us, and the early game's not looking too good anymore. So we had a really good early game, and then in the like, sort of middle parts of the game, made some mistakes as a team, got caught out, and I had some mechanical misplays that kind of led me to, you know, falling behind a bit. So that's quite unfortunate. Not a great start overall. And another reason I want to make this kind of video is show you guys, like, I've played Syndra. I think I'm pretty decent at Syndra overall. But I want to show you guys, you know, kind of like at the end when we hit Master Versatility, since this will be the last champion that we do it on, probably show a Syndra game and kind of show the progress on the champion, you know, once we end up getting it to 9,000 champion score. So kind of also like a little mini game, but really just aiming for that Master Versatility. And that's kind of what I wanted the video overall to be about. And then, like, you know, we'll make a video about getting Master Versatility level 2 Which honestly, I think there's less master versatility level 2s than there are sovereigns or even like legends at this point. So it's like one of the most rare things in the game, really. Level 3, I've never seen someone with level 3, so my goal is to be one of the first people with level 3. And I'm kind of going to try to, make a lot of content around getting that because I actually don't even know the requirements yet. I have to wait to see the requirements until after I get level 2. But that's definitely something I want to focus on as well. And then here we end up ulting and getting a free pick onto the Blitzcrank. So notice how, because we started falling a bit behind, we end up trying to use the fact that Dragon is spawning topside to get the turret on the bottom side of the map, which is why we were ending up rotating towards the bottom side about 20 seconds before Dragon spawns. And that allows us to get that pick and then get that bottom turret after. So these are like really the most crucial parts of the game, are these decisions that you make right before these objectives. Like, I would say the best time to come back in a Wild Rift game is the objective right before, or is right before the objective, the second dragon. Like, that is definitely, to me, the most valuable time, the easiest time, the best time to come back. The reason for that is because you can usually use the dragon as a distraction to make a lot of really nice plays, where then you saw we got that pick on the bottom side, we got the turret on the bottom side, we got the shutdown, and then we end up getting even more kills. We barely don't kill Blitzcrank, but we got the kill onto the Jax as well. And you can just see it's a really good time to drag people to different places, because there's going to be like some people wanting to go towards the dragon on the enemy team. Some people are still going to want to go clear one more wave. They're going to be very split up. They're going to be kind of disjointed. Some people are going to be recalling to spend gold right before. So it's like, if you can make a play with your team, like a very concerted effort towards something, whether that is getting a turret 20 seconds before the objective, whether that's completely giving it up and trying to invade their other side of the map, or whether that's trying to set up a pick right before the objective, all of these different types of things you can do. It's just best to do that right before the second dragon. Like, that's the best time. And even if you don't get the second dragon, it doesn't really matter. The reason it doesn't matter is because you still could get the third dragon to deny soul. And if you have the first dragon already, then you don't have to worry about them getting a soul or anything like that. Our team does die here, so we just use this time to get some poke because I'm almost at 120 stacks, and then the 120 stacks would get me, obviously, my final kind of bonus, where I think it's like more true damage. Or more AP, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it's like more damage in some way. And so here then we're trying to go for a pick after, because the enemy are kind of overextending a little bit, and so we end up getting the Lux there with our ultimate. And now we're on a killing spree. We're starting to do better. We're starting to get online as a champion. And that's kind of, what happens with Syndra a lot of the times. Like, you're going to have a decent early game. Like you saw, I had a gold lead in the early game, but you're not going to be able to kind of one-shot people until you get towards kind of the mid game. And then now this section of the game right after the second dragon is one of the most crucial parts, where you're really trying to get towards that death cap in most situations. And so you see me looking for gold, just trying to get that death cap. I'm 131 gold from death cap. And so I am just looking for one wave. And if I get that one wave, I'm happy. We end up just getting some first strike gold and the Kayn healing. Pretty absurd. I don't know what my Nautilus was doing here. But hey, he doesn't die, so it's not a huge deal. And then we're able to get this next wave to get our death cap. So again, the game's not looking the best, but I'm quite strong now. Anytime you hit these 3 items, right, you're going to be happy, and me and Sivir are very strong. So the rest of our team doing pretty poorly, but the 2 carries, me and Sivir, are late game carries who could definitely potentially pop off. And it's even gold, right? So it's still a very close game as a whole. But we're just kind of looking for picks now, because in the mid game, usually what you're ending up looking for is a pick with your first plus third ability combo, and then following up with the rest of your burst damage afterwards. So I'm kind of just trying to use vision to, ever find one of those angles. I'm obviously trying to not get caught here, and then I assume that they're probably rotating, so I'm hovering the bot side just in case. It's kind of awkward lane assignments because my Darius is in the wrong spot. So obviously Sivir wants to be mid with how strong Sivir is. I want to be on the side lane closest to the Baron, and then my top laner should be on the opposite side of the map, but he's on the wrong side. Because he's on the wrong side, he ends up getting caught, kind of screws up, and then the Jax goes onto us here, so we're not really able to stop this objective. The enemy made a pretty poor call trying to do that Baron, because it was a complete 50-50, and they were ahead in the game and doing well. And so if they'd missed that smite, that would have been a really big game changer for us, but they do end up hitting it, and we kind of just have to back off at the end of the day. So to kind of learn from, if we are, because I'm not really, making a YouTube video to blame my teammates, because I made these mechanical mistakes earlier on in the game that would have made the game easier, whatever. But, I have viewers who play every role, so I think it's important to talk about, right? that lane assignment mistake from the Darius makes it so that when he gets caught, like you guys saw there, they are able to go straight to an objective. And that's why you want to split push on the opposite side of an objective, is because if you split push as a top laner on the same side of the objective, then that's what happens when you get caught. You literally lose pretty much the entire game, because losing a Baron can often be a game losing, like play, right? Here we end up getting, nice dodges, getting a good outplay onto the Blitzcrank and killing him too. But if he's split pushing on the opposite side of the objective and he gets caught there, then the enemy can't go straight to the objective because it's so far away. Here I get greedy, I chase a bit too far, but we end up going back up. I feel like I got caught here. Maybe I didn't get caught. Maybe it was a different situation. But yeah, I don't know. I see Jax now, and so we just end up knocking him back. Like, I don't remember even what happens here. This Jax is really tanky though. We're just trying to outplay him, but yeah, he ends up kind of getting out for free. I have my flash, and then here's where Kayn catches me. That's what I remember now. So we got the one pick onto the Jax, but I used my ultimate, and I didn't need to ult Jax. If I didn't ult Jax, I would have been able to ult this Kayn, and he'd be dead. But unfortunately, he ends up catching me. That healing is really absurd, and then misfortunes on the other side, so I end up dying. So yeah, I didn't know that I had enough damage to kill that Jax there. If I knew I had enough damage, right, without my ultimate, I could have had that ultimate for Kayn, and I would have been able to outplay really hard there. So we end up getting a lot of, gold on myself there, but the game still kind of goes poorly because we end up getting caught, and they have the Baron and everything like that. So we end up being in a pretty bad spot here. But you can still see the late game damage, right? With the, the first strike has gotten me 1.5k gold. It gives you a bunch of true damage, right? I have the Seed Jar gold that I got as well this game. So I've been, getting a lot of gold in the later parts of the game. And so I'm able to do a bunch of damage. I'm able to hit 4 items right now. And whenever you're able to hit this amount of items, you're kind of always having a chance of winning regardless. So that's kind of what we're sort of holding out for at this point. But it's definitely looking a little bit grim. Now, it's really up to me and Syndra to hard carry on 4 items, which is definitely possible. And that's the nice thing about Syndra too, is just like how common it is to have these comebacks and everything. So the thing I'm really looking for now is the first ability, third ability stun, and then comboing that into second ability plus ult to one-shot someone. If I'm able to find that onto someone and then we're able to turn the game around, I think that's going to be entirely possible. So that was really what I was kind of looking for. You see me look for it on Jax there. Then I end up trying to ult the Jax, but he somehow lives here. Like, I don't know how that guy made it out, but that was crazy to me. And so now we're kind of in a bad spot. We end up getting a lot of good damage on everyone here. You can see how, how much damage we're getting on them as a whole. We end up, I think, killing the Jax. We do. But I'm not able to quite, turn this fight around completely. But again, this burst damage in the late game is pretty absurd, which is really nice. And again, we almost killed the Misfortune. That was a cough in the middle of me saying almost, but we're just continuing to try to kind of outplay them, seeing if I can flash onto them or get kind of any outplay now that my ultimate came back thanks to Soul Stealer. And so we end up killing the Blitzcrank there with our first ability. We didn't even need to ult. And again, you could just see that constant burst damage that we're able to get off. Overall, the big issue is just that our inhibs are, starting to go down, and I'm quite low health here. I should probably just recall, spend my gold and everything like that, which is what we end up doing. But yeah, we're pretty much just holding on, just wave clearing, and hoping that they make a mistake kind of at this point overall. So that's really the thought process. I think I could have got anti-heal a little earlier possibly because of the Kayn healing. But the problem with anti-heal on mages is you're very burst focused, and then they'll just heal out of combat a lot of times, or you won't be able to apply it at the proper time. Because if I'm a champion who deals sustained damage, I'm able to keep that anti-heal on someone for a long time. But when my damage is focused around, a couple abilities, sometimes it's hard to keep that applied. The enemy at this point are doing Baron, and we knew there's a high likelihood of them doing Baron, but as the carries, we don't really have the agency to decide on whether or not we want to help that. So what we do instead is we just play around the Elder, and then we try to use Elder to hopefully win a fight. So the real kind of hopefully turning point of this game for us is to try to win a fight right after we get the Elder. And so now that we get the Elder, we're trying to win this fight afterwards. I was surprised to see my team end up dying here. I guess it's just because my front line were so weak as a whole. And so they end up still dying, and we lose the fight regardless. So now they're able to push, get free, turrets and everything, even though we got the Elders. So oftentimes what would be preferred, right, would be to have some amount of vision on the Baron set up before the objective so that we know if they're going to sneak the Baron. In this case, You know, again, you don't always have that agency as a mid laner, and that's why I kind of want to share as well. Like, you know, sometimes your teammates will just not do certain things that make the game very hard to win. And like I said, we made some mistakes in the early parts of the game, but some of these things, like my teammates not getting the vision or setting up in that scenario, pretty hard to kind of do as, you know, my champion in these circumstances, or like that situation where we lost the objective because the Darius gets caught inside. Like, those things can sometimes be things that are out of your control. Oftentimes people will ask me, like, they'll like send me some type of screenshot, and they'll be like, Talon, what could I have done in this game? And the screenshot will be them, you know, they'll be like, say 10, 3, and 4 like I am here, and the team stat line's not very good. They'll ask me, you know, what could I have done better? And you saw, right, in the early game, there's things we could have done better to win this game. But at the end of the day, when it came to some of the later parts of the game, a lot of the decisions, you know, you could say maybe I could make different decisions, but it'd be pretty hard at the end of the day, like, without, you know, the team kind of following up or making the proper decisions. It's usually pretty hard to do some of these things. And the point is, when these things happen, you don't always have to, you know, be like concerned with figuring out how you could have won the game, because this game was probably not going to be a win regardless. You could just focus on the couple of things you could have improved on at whatever point of the game it was, and then move on. Because here again, we kept getting dove on then later on in the game, and our front line were really weak, and again, they made a lot of those mistakes. So it was a pretty hard game. We ended up losing at the end, but definitely, you know, could have played a bit better at certain parts, and we would have possibly won. But like I said, that's just kind of a general thing that a lot of people ask me about. You don't always have to be worried about the fact that you lost the game. Sometimes you're going to play well. You're not going to play perfect, and you're going to make a mistake or two, you lose the game. Overall, just wanted to talk to you guys about Master Versatility, though, show you guys the Syndra gameplay, and, you know, going to be grinding a lot of Syndra for the next couple days, so if you're interested in that, definitely check out my stream and stuff like that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.